Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh, double honors to the elder apostles, as well as the elder bishops who labored to teach us this truth. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing this word in truth, sincerity, and indeed. I'm your brother Patazar from the Great Millstone Chicago branch, coming at you with another real quick, Lord willing, edifying lesson. And 2026 is gearing up to be a year of war and digitalization. Okay. Again, 2026, a year of war and digitalization as far as global events happening around the world. All right. So this Christmas Day, the king of Babylon decided to send strikes into Nigeria. OK. AFRICOM is what it's called. OK. The African Command, which is a leg of the United States global empire. OK, but it's centered in Africa as far as operations go. And they just sent strikes in Nigeria under the guise of protecting Christians. OK, you see how crazy that is. Meanwhile, back in the U.S., so-called black Christians have been suffering and being murdered at the hands of the United States police, at the hands of terrorist groups known as the KKK, that is still not labeled a hate group or a terrorist organization by the U.S. government. But nonetheless, so-called black Christians have been suffering in America for decades, So it's not about protecting so-called Christians in Africa. It's not about that. But nonetheless, let's get into it.
Sees now to U.S. strikes targeting terrorists in Nigeria on Christmas Day. President Trump says it was to protect Christians in that country, but Nigerian officials say the strikes were aimed at protecting all religions, not just Christians. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
Tonight, new scenes of the aftermath of the U.S. missile strike in Nigeria on Christmas Day. The Pentagon releasing this video, a U.S. warship firing a Tomahawk cruise missile from the Gulf of Guinea. A U.S. official telling ABC News more than a dozen missiles were launched. In a village targeted by the strikes in northwest Nigeria, residents carrying a piece of metal debris as a fire rages in a field. The next day, locals gathering as police sweep the site of a missile strike. President Trump saying he ordered the strikes against terrorists who, quote, have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians. Tonight, the president saying he delayed the strikes for symbolic reasons, telling Politico, quote, they were going to do it earlier and I said, nope, let's give a Christmas present. The Pentagon says multiple ISIS terrorists were killed. U.S. and Nigerian officials confirming they worked together on this operation. Analysts tell ABC News the reality on the ground in Africa's most populous country, home to millions of Christians and Muslims, is complex.
Christians are not the sole target of ISIS in Nigeria. They have been indiscriminate in their violence.
Nigeria's government responding to the strikes overnight, saying terrorist violence in any form, whether directed at Christians, Muslims, or other communities, remains an affront to Nigeria's values and to international peace and security. The Christmas strikes are the second this week. Last Friday, the U.S. carrying out dozens of airstrikes against ISIS in Syria in response to the deadly attack that killed 3 Americans.
Selena Wang joins us now from Palm Beach, where President Trump.
Yeah, and that's all we need, So why so much emphasis on Nigeria and West Africa? It's because they're rising. See, when you look at these AES alliances, I want to say the Sahel, all right, AES alliance consists of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. OK, and so what's happening is these countries have collaborated and united with one another, and they are kicking out outside influences of their country. Basically, they're taking control of their resources, and they don't have a central bank. They created their own bank that the precedent is the interests of the people and not the outside forces, okay? Not you Edomites, okay? You so-called Europeans that have looted, pillaged, and exploited the continent of Africa for centuries now. And now they're standing up and they're saying, fuck you. It's our country. These are our resources. Why are we poor and y'all are rich? So no, they're turning it around, okay? And in the midst of them making this turnaround, okay, the imperialistic forces that be don't like it. So they're going to look to destabilize the country, okay? And this is what Ibrahim Traore, he warned of a black winter coming. All right, let's get that.
On thought, my analysis.
All right, so this is this individual right here. Let me see if I could. No, they won't let me. This individual right here, okay, his name is Ibrahim Traore, okay? And he's one of the most prolific faces in Africa right now because he's helping spearhead the campaign of uniting Africa and taking control of their resources and enriching the people. Okay? So his disposition is what you would consider righteous. Why should the people that are enriching all the nations of the world, why are they the poorest? There's some skullduggery going on. So this dude's saying, no, hell no. We're taking control of our resources. But in doing so, he knows that war is going to be on the horizon. And so he's warning his people. And so what the AI has done is it's translated his speech into English. Okay. So let's hear him out. Shit.
On thought, my analysis is that there is something coming to West Africa, which I have called the Black Winter. The Black Winter is coming. It will be a very cold winter, a bloody winter, a deadly winter. You are going to ask me why. Well, when we founded the AIS Confederation, we felt this cold coming. And every day that God gives us, we strive to find logs to light a fire. A fire that will warm the hearts of Africans, a fire that will warm the minds and blood of Africans so we can unite around it. We have also worked hard to charge at the wolf, trying to use their skins, to make coats to protect ourselves from the cold of winter. We have strived to build mountains, great mountains, to break the winter wind that would otherwise fall upon our communities. Unfortunately, it must be said that some black people are there every day, watering our logs with fresh water so they can't burn. They turn into wolves to make sure that we, the wolf hunters, cannot catch the wolf by surprise. When we want to build our mountains, they break the stones so that we cannot succeed. Yet winter is coming. And when winter comes, should we allow those who fought against us to come and take shelter with the coats we made, with the mountains we built to protect ourselves from the winds or to warm ourselves together around the fire? That is the question we must ask ourselves. So what will become of Pan-Africanism when winter comes? Winter will come because war is spreading to West Africa. The imperialists are doing on thought, my analysis.
All right. So he's letting you know the imperialists, they're doing everything they can, okay, to uproot the movement. And he said this 2 days before Christmas when those strikes hit Nigeria. You see? All right, I want to see if...
The imperialists are doing everything they can to set West Africa ablaze. But from the highest levels of the state down to certain segments of the population, either we pretend not to see the danger coming, or we ourselves are complicit in what is about to happen. Chaos could take hold. I repeat, it could take hold. Many people could die. We will end up killing each other in such horrific ways that during that time they will be there looting our resources and imposing their will. And those who survive this tragedy will have only two choices. Either unite forever against imperialism or resign themselves to being slaves until they disappear. So we must prepare ourselves for the winter, the dark winter that is coming. We absolutely cannot comprehend how black people here in West Africa could possibly pray to God for ruthless terrorists to brutally kill innocent black populations. We unequivocally cannot understand how utterly cowardly heads of state deliberately hide behind so-called mainstream media to actively discourage, insult, and maliciously stir up hatred and division among their own people. The individuals who sit on their platforms, who, from morning till night, spew their toxic venom to fuel hatred between communities, are generally very mean-spirited. With their miserable faces, they know nothing else to do, that's all. Look at them closely. They're there with the eyes of wild fruit flies, spewing venom every single day. They seek to divide communities. On social media, they're there, and there are many of them. Why is it that we, black people, try to cultivate hatred among ourselves, and out of hypocrisy, we call each other brother? We need to be able to tell each other the truth. The imperialists...
There we go. Okay. So he's calling them the imperialists. Who's he talking about? America and the tiny tops. Okay. So one would say, well, West Africa, they don't have a fighting chance. You know, they don't have some advanced technological vast army to defend themselves against a Goliath known as the United States. Well, this is where it gets interesting, because who do you think they have a strong allegiance with? That's right. Russia. Russia. Okay. The alliance of the Sahel states, again, that's Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and other African countries are in league with them, is strategically aligned and deeply partnered with Russia, viewing Moscow as a security, military, and diplomatic backer of the three nations. And let's get the scriptures, man. Let's just get into it, man. Because the Lord said who? Who's going to be a guard unto all these other nations? Russia. All right. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 7. It says, but be thou prepared. It says, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. See what I'm saying? This is Russia. This is Russia. Okay, Gog and Magog. Okay, Russia is a guard unto these nations, man. You see? And there's a bunch of there's alliances being made against the West. Okay, against America, which is being puppeteered by the tiny tops. Okay, the hammer of the earth. All right. So that's what's going on. That's why they talking they shit. And again, these nations, okay, the alliance of Sahel states, okay, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, as well as Ivory Coast, Benin, Ghana. All right. What are these nations very rich in? Uranium, gold, you see, other precious metals, oil. All right. These nations, they amass a wealth of these heavily coveted resources, man. And now that they're making moves to take control of their resources, it's going to enrich them, all right, on a whole nother level. Okay, or so that's their plans. All right, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua got other plans for you. But nonetheless, okay, this is why 2026 is about to be wild. This is why 2026 is about to be a year of more war. Okay, so what is the United States doing? They reaching over in Venezuela. All right, starting shit with them because of the drugs. They're trying to say, well, the drug, they're bringing all these drugs in here when China is the main mass producer of fentanyl. Step on his toes. Okay, that's what's found its way into the streets of America, and that's what's killing these Edomites left and right, is a bunch of drugs mixed in with the Fendi, which is coming from China. But you don't see the United States doing that shit with China. So what are they doing? They're seizing tankers in Venezuela. Okay, starting shit over there. Why? Because the largest oil reserve in the world is where? In Venezuela. And so the U.S. need that. They need that. So they need these smoke screens and these excuses to justify them messing with the Venezuelans, riling shit up over there. And then now what's going on over there in Nigeria? Oh, there's black Christians are under attack. So under the guise of being morally upright, America is trying to be a protector to these black Christians in Nigeria. Yeah, give me a fucking break. All right. Nah, they got a shit ton of gold over there, and they're taking control over it. They're extremely rich in uranium. What is uranium used for? Nukes. They got a lot of silver over there. What is silver used for? It's used in the weaponry. It's used in different types of technology. Okay? They got a whole lot of oil over there in West Africa. See? So nah. All right, we those in the know are able to separate the trees from the forest, man. Okay? And the US is getting desperate. All right? Let me get this scripture and I'm gonna end it. I ain't gonna make it long. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 32. In verse 2, it says, Son of man, take up a lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and say unto him, Thou art like a young lion of the nations, and thou art as a whale in the seas. See, so the U.S. has been a bully for so long. Debo for so long, right? It says, And thou camest forth with thy rivers and troublest the waters with thy feet and foulest their rivers, right? So you start shit with all these other nations. You see, you muddy the waters. You create confusion. OK, you create government uprisings. You finance and arm rebels to do your bidding so that you can destabilize the country and set up puppet government leaders. OK, that are going to push forth policy that are going to enrich American corporations, European corporations, and enslave, all right, the population that has the resources, man. You see? Skullduggery, right? Verse 3, Thus saith Yahweh power, I will therefore spread out my net over thee with a company of many people, and they shall bring thee up in my net. So Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is setting a trap for America. Okay? He's setting that trap for you. You see? You getting lured into the trap. Your forces and your resources are being spread thin. Okay. All right. In which the tiny tops are puppeteering all of this. Okay. For control. And in doing so, America is being spread thin. America is going broke. And America is about to enter into another multiple world wars. Okay. America is about to enter into multiple war fronts that is eventually going to lead this place into a crash course of World War III with Russia and China, as well as other Confederate world powers, man. And what's happening is all these wars and shit going on, especially when they start this war in Africa, it's going to destabilize these European nations that depend on all those resources from Africa. And what's that going to do? That's going to piss off these European nations because they know who's pulling the strings, and it's going to cause them to want to turn on Babylon. So it's all going into prophecy. Okay? It says, verse 4, then I will leave thee upon the land, and I will cast thee forth upon the open field, and I will cause all the fowls of the heaven to remain upon thee, and I will fill the beasts of the whole earth with thee, right? So when you take a fish out of water, you take this big ass whale out of water and you beach it, it's going to die. It's going to die slowly. All right. So as the Heavenly Father is dragging America into this net of war, it's going to cause this beast to be put on the beach. OK, it's going to be a big fish out of water where it can't survive. And then what's going to happen? The fowls of the air and the beasts of the earth are going to feed on you, man. These other nations are going to get on your ass, man. These other nations are going to join and be put in league, all right, with the other main superpowers, and they just going to fire on you, man. Pursuing back to the prophecies of Jeremiah, the 49th chapter, so like Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, and Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, man. Okay? Those chapters are talking about what's going to happen to America. Okay? Jeremiah 50 and Jeremiah 51 is talking about the future of America, which is right around the corner. You see? And it's going to be over with, man. It's a big trap for you, man. What the scriptures say, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Who's that least of the flock? Amalek. Tiny top in them. Okay? They're drawing you out into these skirmishes, which are eventually going to lead into a world war, which is going to lead into the total destruction of Babylon the Great, aka America, via world war and nuclear holocaust. See? That's what's getting ready to happen, man. And in the midst of it, America's economy is going to collapse. Hyperinflation is going to take hold. Civil unrest is going to be rampant everywhere in America. You see? And it's all a part of the plans of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai to help propel this new world order. See? The nations have to be in perplexity and chaos everywhere in order for them to justify this new world order, to get things back under control. And in order to do that, they got to microchip everybody. See? And then once they do that, then they're really going to go to war. But this is all building up, man. It's all the perfect plan of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. All right. Let me see, was it any more to that? Verse 5, Ezekiel 32:5, and I will lay thy flesh upon the mountains and fill the valleys with thy height. I will also water with thy blood the land wherein you swimmest, even to the mountains, and the rivers shall be full of thee. See? So the Lord is setting you up, man. He's setting you up for a mighty fall, man. All right. But that's about it. I ain't got to go too deep in that. Y'all get the point, man. So with that, I hope this was edifying. All praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah Kodash, Shalom, and Abba Ball.